Let's fucking roll. Welcome back to McBastard Studio. We're here in Foco, USA. I'm Brad Banyas. You're listening to the SaltyMF Go podcast. Today we are talking to the founder of Georgia Grinders, Jaime Foster, and she is quite an amazing woman, has a good business, and thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Brad, for inviting me into your studio today. I love it. I love what you guys are doing, and excited to share some more about Georgia Grinders.
Yeah, I love it. I think we were introduced through maybe Pharaoh Life, and I just kind of like the community in Georgia, and I saw what you guys are doing, and your stuff's good. The almond butter, I think it's the almond butter, is my daughter's favorite. So she was excited that we were going to have you on. She's like, "Oh, well, you're having the money." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know who they are." She goes, "Absolutely."
I love hearing that. The almond butter is definitely one of our number one products, and actually what we launched with back in 2012. So she's a smart girl.
Yeah, she is smart. She's very health conscious, I would say, in trying to find things that are good for her. And I know that with you guys and what you do in natural, it's basically nuts and salt, right? You're grinding up the nuts and whatever. So from a health perspective, there's not a lot of additives. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, in Georgia Grinders Nut Butters, our philosophy is to keep it very clean and simple because life is already complicated enough. So you're not going to find a lot of unnecessary ingredients. You're not going to see additional sugars, oils, emulsifiers, or preservatives. Yeah. We start with premium nuts that we meticulously source. They are of the highest quality, highest oil content. We slow roast them. Each nut has a different roasting time, and then we grind them and add a touch of sea salt.
Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, you grew up, it was like your granddad was kind of in this space doing it, right? That was his recipe, I guess, the original one? Is that
you're right. It is based off of my grandfather's recipe from the 70s, but he was not in the food space or manufacturing at all.
He just kind of did that for...
Yeah, he was actually an engineer by trade and just wickedly smart, but was predisposed to cardiovascular disease.
Okay.
Both of his brothers died in their early 50s, and he decided, he was going to find a better way to tackle health and wellness and medicine, and
that's awesome.
Did not follow the protocol that the doctors prescribed because it didn't seem to work too well for his brothers, and really started looking at diet and lifestyle, and almond butter was just one of the many healthy, better for you options that he started creating.
That's awesome. So that's crazy. It's funny how you're smart enough and creative enough to do something on your own, and it turns out later on your granddaughter runs a business around that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and he actually got to see us turn it into a business. He ended up living to be 97.
Oh my, that's amazing.
And attributes his longevity to really just cleaning up his diet and living an active lifestyle and adopting more of the integrative health philosophies.
Yeah,
so it was fun to show him what we were doing.
Well, you were a saleswoman, right? Salesperson. Right?
Yes,
in the pharmaceuticals. So I can tell definitely when we first met, you're very professional in the way you present yourself. How did that help you? Just I know it probably helped you, but did that help you in the confidence to start your own business? I mean, going off and doing something like this that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, being in medical sales, you definitely go through, rigorous sales training. It is a little more formal than what is common in the food industry. But without a doubt, just, really the methodical thought process that goes into sales calls, really identify what they're looking for. That was helpful. But without a doubt, I've got the entrepreneurial spirit that's just ingrained in my DNA. It's been there my whole life. I, have a fire and a passion, and
I love it.
When I get my mind on something, it's going to happen. So
I love it. Yeah. So Salty Nation out there, you heard that. You've got to get your mind on something and just go. So I've been an entrepreneur for most of my life. So I was a doer. I was probably too dumb to know any better. That's I wasn't a planner. I just said, oh, that sounds like a good idea, and did that. When you first kind of got into this business with Georgia Grinders, how did you kind of fund it yourself? Did you have investors help you fund it? How'd that look? I'm just curious for entrepreneurs that want to
Yeah, I mean, a great question. And I'm a doer too. I mean, again, like I said, when I get a bee in my bonnet, I'm going to attack full force. And, I think we're all our worst enemies, and we get stuck in our mind, and we try to talk ourselves out of doing things and putting too much thought into it. And then you really strike out. So we had this idea and really just ran with it full force. Started making the almond butter in our home kitchen on this small little grinder that actually belonged to my grandfather.
Oh, that's cool.
And, he gave us the recipe and just started tinkering around with it. But we went in head first, and we did not have any investor money. We looked at, everyone said, if you're going to launch a food business, you've got to have a story. Don't just try to create another jam, jelly, or sauce and stick it on the shelf, because you're not going to succeed. People want to know who's producing their food. They want to know, why are you even bringing this product to market? And my grandfather's story was, an amazing story to be able to sell to people and to tell, because he did change his diet and lifestyle, and health and wellness, and looked at the food that he was eating and lived to be 97 despite his cardiovascular disease. And so just being able to share that story, talk about, us as the producers, our small operation, all of 1,000 square feet that we invested in Chamblee, Georgia.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was a huge leap of faith. We didn't really know what we were doing, and I'm not afraid to admit that at all.
That's the best kind of venture.
If you don't get your feet wet, then you don't know. You don't know what you're missing out on. And we did review looking at co-packers, a third party where you would outsource all of your manufacturing, and just the way nut butters are made, a lot of co-packers were not set up to produce nut butters.
Right.
And then when we finally identified some that could handle nut butters, essentially they wanted, a full 8-hour shift, and it was going to leave us with, multiple pallets of product and no one to sell it to.
Yeah.
So, it was a risk, and we self-funded it initially and bought, very small equipment. And my husband would go in on Friday nights and make nut butter while I stayed home with the babies, and then we'd go and sell it at farmers markets the next morning. So
that's amazing.
Definitely bootstrapped the whole gig together, but just the drive and the passion, and to get out there and talk to people at these markets and let people taste it and give you direct feedback on what they liked or didn't like about it. Was even more motivating to keep going. So.
That's such a great story, because it's so many entrepreneurs, they're making it in their kitchen, or they're doing that. And I know the Farrell Life started that way. They started kind of doing that with the skincare and the lard, and the way that they even came about the cosmetics with that was amazing to me. I was like, how do you even think of this stuff,
It is, but manufacturing is something that neither my husband nor I had experience in. So that was our biggest leap of faith, was really understanding production and how to work with FDA and Department of Ag. The sales piece I felt like I had down.
Yeah, obviously.
I can sell it all day long. And I know it tastes amazing. It was, all right, how are we going to handle this manufacturing side of it? And, here we are 12 years later, and we graduated from our 1,000 square foot space into 6,000 square feet. And now we're in about 15,000 square feet in Chamblee. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's great. I'm really proud of you. I mean, I've tasted some of it's really good. I mean, I'm one of these people, as a kid, like peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I mean, that was like a staple. Like when we were that age, that's what you ate. You ate peanut butter, or you ate peanut butter and crackers. Now we didn't have the variety of all the things available for you to snack on. So.
Well, and nut butters have become so popular over the past, 10 years too. The timing actually was ideal for us. When we launched in 2012, absolutely nobody had a clue what almond butter was, and trying to explain it to them. And they're like, oh, so it's like peanut butter, but it tastes like almonds. And yes, you're correct. It's a novel concept there. But, just really educating people on all the different ways to use it, because it's so much more than a spread for a sandwich with jelly. And that's the piece that I love to showcase too, is the versatility with different recipes, from sweet to savory, baked goods, smoothies, Asian-inspired sauces.
Smoothies, that sounds good.
I've made a lot of great cocktails with nut butters too, but the sky's the limit.
Oh, have you really?
Oh yeah.
Do you have all that on your site? Like
we have tons of different recipes on our website, and they're all broken down by category. And some of them are just that I've created in my kitchen. We did it was a hazelnut butter martini, and then we've done some peanut butter chocolate martinis too.
That sounds
So,
amazing,
yeah,
actually.
they're fun dessert, gluttonous type drinks. But we're all about balance. And while we were making a squeaky clean, healthy product, we also have a lot of sinful, gluttonous recipes available.
Well, I mean, but that's okay,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's
balance.
That's the fun part of it, right? Talking about a nut butter martini, I don't know.
Who doesn't want peanut butter chocolate and
exactly
vodka and frangelico? So.
You guys, so have you ever gone to like the bars and tried to push that kind of as a recipe for the martini? I would think that would be a really good thing to do if it caught on.
Yeah,
right?
we've done some local collaborations. Somebody used our peanut butter to brew some beer. And then there was a restaurant in Chamblee that did some features with our nut butters on the menu, and there were definitely some cocktails. Awesome. Unfortunately, the restaurant's no longer there. But, nut butters aren't, a number 1 selling item into bar service. But I think it's people really enjoy making it at home.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, like, just curious, not about your kids, but do they like trying the new products that you get? Or are they all excited about that? Or are they at a point where it's just their business? Like our kids with apparel and stuff are like, I don't want another hat, Dad. I don't really care. I have 5,000 hats. So I'm just curious how their reaction to is with mom and dad having that business. Are they excited about it?
They really are. They don't know any differently. So, I think my daughter was 1 and my son was 3 when we started. And I remember, getting them to taste it. And we had this really cute video of our son that just out of the blue said, almond butter makes you big and strong. And so I love looking back on that video and just seeing how far we've come too. But it's totally normal. I dream nut butters and different flavors and flavor profiles and what can I do next. Yeah. And when I have an idea, it's going to happen. Yeah. And I just stumbled across a new idea this past week and told my husband, I said, the guys are going to kill me, but we have a new nut butter that's going to be coming out.
That's awesome.
Something that's a little spicy and savory.
That's great.
But I do. I never thought I'd be a nut butter recipe dreamer.
Guru, yeah.
But that is what I do. So the kids are used to it. This is what they've grown up in. Yeah. They've seen the struggles, but the excitement and the wins of owning a small business. And my son definitely has the entrepreneur spirit. And I think without a doubt, it's because he grew up going to farmers markets with me and seeing the transactions take place. Yeah. He's gone into a million different stores doing deliveries with me over the years.
That's great.
So
it's good for him.
It is. And he takes a lot of pride in it. Yeah. So he was running errands this morning for Georgia Grinders.
That's awesome. He's got his license, doing a good job out there.
Yeah.
Keeping it, riding that line, keeping the line.
Yes, I'm proud of him. And, maybe it's something he'll want to be involved with one day. If not, that's okay too.
Right.
My daughter, she loves to cook and bake, so she bakes a lot with the nut butters. Yeah. She probably eats it more than my son does. Loves all the different flavors, but I don't think she has any interest in ever being part of the business. I can't even get her to make a TikTok reel for me.
Yeah, no.
Georgia Grinders.
It's funny how they'll do it. I have 4 kids, so it's funny how they'll do it just messing around. But when you ask them to do it, or even say you're going to pay them to do it.
Well, I thought for sure by paying them, she would jump all over it. And she's like, oh, no, Mom, that's so boring. I can't do that. But, she's 13, so maybe one day she'll come around too and have a little more enthusiasm. But she does love it, and she loves to eat it and bake with it.
That's great. And I think, like a lot of my kids didn't want to be in the tech side of our business, which was fine. I think they just saw, nobody wants to sit behind a computer all day.
Right.
So I kind of got that part of it. But they have a little more interest in the salty stuff. It's a little bit more fun.
Oh, for sure. Branding's amazing. So.
Yeah. When you have fun people come in and talk and, fun products and just great people to deal with. They're like, my youngest son goes, I think that might be something that I could do. And I said, well, you'd be smart if you did that.
For sure. This looks fun, Dad. I'm joining in.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. They're their own special, unique individuals. And, the sky's the limit on what they're going to do. Yeah. And I would never force them into something they don't want.
It's great, though. I think, from an entrepreneur perspective, I talk to everybody. My wife calls me the mayor because I would, I'm going to go talk to whoever, everybody make friends. And it drives my in-laws crazy if we go on vacation because I'm going to know everybody in the bar or wherever. And I see them kind of come along. I said, you do that because you can't really truly understand who a person is or whether you're going to like them or not, or also you might do some venture of business with them one day. I mean, you have to talk to them. Yeah. Like you have to come out of your shell. So I feel for people that struggle. I don't think you struggle at that, but I feel for people like that are really introverted and scared because I mean, everyone's got something to talk about.
I know. Well, and we all have something unique to share too, and that's the art of conversation is beautiful. And interestingly enough, as I get older, I am becoming much more introverted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to take a new perspective and sit back and listen more.
Right.
A novel concept there, coming from a sales rep, but. My husband will talk everybody's ear off too, so I guess I have to give him the platform to take over too when we're out.
Great.
But that's how we end up meeting everybody, and we end up talking to the whole bar at the end of the night because he will spark conversation with everyone.
That's great.
And then of course,
keep doing that.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
Yeah, but there's so many interesting people with great stories to share and coming from all walks of lives, and it's just to see a lot of crossover too is pretty cool.
I would say, Kai, even in your business when you guys were starting, just talking to people about that was how that's how you spread the word on your product, right?
Oh, you have
to the farmer's market and whatever.
Yeah, you have to get them to sample it first of all and try it. You have to have tough skin if they hate your product. But that's the part I love. And in fact, a couple of weeks ago when I was in Atlanta, I just said, you know what, I'm actually going to go work a farmer's market. I haven't done it in 5 years or so, and I had more fun connecting with people, just getting back to my roots. And it is truly the part that I love sharing about Georgia Grinders is
that's great.
The different tastes and the profiles and seeing the reactions and getting the feedback from consumers, because it is an awesome product, or I would not be pouring my heart and soul into it 12 years later.
Well, and also I think even things like this show people, obviously Jaime's a very smart, awesome, great person. Like, buy from people that you like.
Yeah.
Or buy from brands you like, or local brands, or that it means something to them. Not just some, and I know convenience, if you're going to the grocery store and something's there, or you may have to get it online versus walk into a grocery store. But you and I were talking about this. I think, more and more people are used to just ordering things online directly from the manufacturer. So
yeah, I mean, the shift has changed completely over the past 3 to 5 years. Nobody was buying food products online before COVID, and then we were forced to. So we're really trying to leverage the power of e-commerce and change the way people buy foods. But with specialty foods, people are willing to now, and they like to know the story behind the producer who's actually making it. And people that truly do care about small business America do want to support and are willing to pay a little bit more for shipping. And
you should. I mean, sometimes you don't have the economies of scale, but that's not what business is about from a consumer perspective. Because I know a lot of brands that aren't I'm talking about clothing brands that aren't very good quality clothing, but have a good name and people buy them. Whereas, if you've got a good product specifically in the food area or health area, I mean, why not? It's not that much more expensive. It's
exactly. I mean,
triple.
There's a lot of terrible products out there, but unfortunately, they've got really deep pockets and marketing dollars that can push it out quickly. But we're growing slowly, organically over time, and we don't have a big marketing budget, but I do have some extremely loyal customers, and allowed us to be here 12 years later.
Marketing dollars don't make your nut butter taste any better.
No, they don't. No, they don't. So
that should be the marketing
thing, for word of mouth and sharing our story with amazing people like you on your podcast.
Well, I mean, I hope you like it. It's kind of people when they walk in, they're kind of like they're taken back a little bit, but then they're like, "This is cool." So you'll be on our guest wall, So.
Yeah, no, you've done a great job with it. It's fun, it's edgy,
I appreciate it. It's been fun, and we've got really good partners with our Open Heart Media that runs the podcast for us, and Austin who does the photographs, and Alex who does the video. We've just got a really good team of people, and like when we started, we all very much kind of came together. We're like, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and they're like, well, we kind of know what we're doing. We haven't done a lot of podcasts. well, let's just do it. I mean,
Yeah, it sounds like the Georgia Grinders team, and your teammates are the most important. I mean, I've got the idea, the vision, but I couldn't execute any of it without my team. And my guys are loyal as hell, and
I bet.
they've been with us for 7-8 years.
That's
and
awesome.
we definitely cycled through a lot of people over the years too, but these guys are salt of the earth. They're amazing, and it's what allows us to get our product out there.
But you're pretty much, I can tell you're the kind of person, if you say you're going to do something, you do it.
Oh, 100%.
And I mean, I pick that up on you, and that to me is very important in life, for not just business, doing your business, but just the way you handle your relationships. Because I try to tell my kids, and I'd be like, if you say you're going to do something, do it.
Absolutely.
Like, no matter what it takes, do it.
You might not always love it, but if you committed, your word and your integrity are going to make or break you.
Exactly. And that's why you guys been around 12, 13 years, right? That's amazing. That's awesome. I really think a show with you doing all kinds of stuff around nut butter, even around, martinis.
Oh my God, I would love a cooking show.
I think that would be, I really.
More fun doing
so
that.
right there, Salty Nation, we're going to think of that. Brinks TV, I think that would be a good thing for you guys.
Start submitting your recipes. There's nothing I can't create with a nut butter.
I think that would be, like, I can see that.
Yeah.
I could see you doing something like that, and that being, people liking that.
Yeah, if I had all the time in the world and wasn't so focused on running my business, being able to showcase and be goofy in the kitchen with nut butters
You should do it.
Yeah, that's actually how, gosh, it was back in the day. I was doing a dinner where every course had to be a different feature with a nut butter. And we got to dessert, and I had always made this almond butter cheesecake.
Ooh, that's
well,
awesome.
for some reason, the cheesecake did not firm up and hold, and it just was this big, gooey nightmare.
Which happened?
I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? I've got to serve dessert. That's when I pulled out the Vitamix and I poured it in there, added some liquor to it, and that's how the cocktail was born. And honestly, it was everyone's most favorite part of the meal. And they couldn't believe it was just a fly by the seat of my pants creation.
Hey, it's good. Cheesecake's good. Really,
Yeah.
I would eat it regardless of where it was standing upright. Who cares?
It was pure liquid. So it's like, well, Vitamix and some liquor is going to fix everything.
Exactly. Even a bad pizza.
I don't know about that.
I definitely want to. We should figure that out. So when you come to Atlanta, we should figure that out, because I don't know if you know Mark McDonald. Do you know Mark McDonald?
I don't know
up
Mark,
there.
but it sounds
well,
like
he's
I need
right
to
there in
meet
the
him.
middle with my son and I right there. Anyways, he's a big health and fitness guru and nutritionist, and they've got a show on Brinks TV, and they have different scenarios. I'm gonna hook you up with them, because you don't have to, like, it doesn't have to be a show weekly. I just think if you could do that once a month or something, I think people would really enjoy that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it would be a ton of fun to do. So
yeah, it would be a
each
lot of
month
fun.
could be a different theme.
You would like him too. They're good people. They were on the show early on, but they've been good to us over there. So
yeah, well,
but they have a health show, and you can talk about the health of nut butter, what all the benefits of it. But I think doing the cocktails would be
yeah, I think people are really starting to understand all of the health benefits associated with nuts, and but they don't understand all of the different recipes that you can create with it. And thinking, as I like to say, think outside of the jar.
Exactly.
So,
you guys, do you have a big merch? Do you have a big merch line? Because I think there's some catchy things I'd really like to do with you guys at some point.
Well, let's do it. We have not been successful in the merch department. We're wearing a lot of hats these days between manufacturing and sales and marketing, and really trying to grow the business. So unfortunately, the merch has just not made much of a debut. We've had plenty of things printed, but just hasn't taken off. So
yeah, it's hard. I mean, to be honest, I didn't know shit about merch either.
Yeah,
so,
but people love it. I mean, we do get a lot, hey, can you send me stickers and hats, which we've got some great hats. We do have, some old water bottles. I mean, we had all of this stuff. Part of it too, I want to give our brand a little refresh, as it enters its teenage years.
Yeah, that's right.
A little more
It's about
exciting.
teenager.
So do a little brand refresh and then figure out what we need to do on the merch side, because people do, they
Yeah,
I like
I
their
think
logos.
we need to make a almond butter martini tea. I'm see it.
Yeah.
I've got some ideas for it. Anyways. We should do stuff for fun. If it
Yeah,
works,
no,
if
I
it
think it'd
works,
be
it works. If it
great.
doesn't work, it doesn't work. You can kind of
Yeah,
bury it.
we had some silly sayings back in the day. I had some really fun guys working, and you can make a lot of nut jokes
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah, salty
and
nuts.
grinding jokes
Yeah,
and all of that
yeah.
good stuff. So yeah, we could have a lot of fun with some merch.
It's interesting, like because it'd be interesting. I'm sure that a lot of people have told you not to do that, for obvious reasons, because you're really trying to promote the health of eating,
Yes.
and your grandfather who kind of it's got a very family oriented story, which I think is awesome, and that is who you are. So you do have to kind of be careful if
Yeah,
you go
no,
off,
and
you go off
as
on
we
a,
refined the brand over the years, you can't do everything,
Yeah.
and so we were kind of quirky and goofy, and
Yeah.
I would love it to be a funny, quirky, goofy
Yeah.
brand, but it takes away from more of the health and wellness, super clean label.
right, and that's
image.
kind of what what it's good for, right?
Yeah.
Or other than the special drinks and cheesecake, I want those recipes. I'm telling you, I'm going to do something around that. Yeah, we'll figure it out. You don't have to do a lot of time or spend a lot of time. We'll figure it out. We'll come down to St. Simon's or something. And,
I'd love it.
And
Well,
cut some, just cut a couple of things and see what you think.
I've got a great kitchen, and I can pull out all kinds of exciting creations.
That's awesome. Did you always want to move to the ocean, to the beach?
Both my husband and I absolutely love being on the water. And it was a dream of ours after our kids went to college to move to the water. We
Right.
didn't know exactly where that would be.
Right.
And like a lot of other people during COVID, priorities shifted and changed. And we thought, why not speed up our 10-year plan by 10 years? So the kids were on board with moving.
Yeah, I bet. It was
And
nice.
I think we really needed to just take the leap of faith and jump. And I think it was all part of God's plan because it just unfolded beautifully. And, like anywhere else when you move, there's an adjustment period, but we're 3 years into it and loving life there. And I think for me personally, type A driven personality, living in Atlanta, the hustle and bustle, the way I'm wired, I needed the slower paced lifestyle to really shift my perspective on life and kind of figure out what the next half of my life is going to look like in a peaceful, serene environment.
That's great. Well, I've always loved the beach too, but I just haven't been able to pull the trigger.
Yeah,
Can't tell if I want to go to the mountains or the beach. So
that was tough. Don't worry. In July, I want to go to the mountains for sure.
Exactly.
It is definitely hot there, but we're water people, and it just we knew it was meant to be at that time. And
that's great. Well, that's great.
don't
I mean,
regret
it's, the beauty of it. I mean, you still got your manufacturing here, and you're up here quite a bit in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So you kind of get that break if you want to get out. So.
And I actually enjoy coming back to visit now and look forward to connecting with friends and going to restaurants and doing all the things that, quite frankly, I just got so burnt out doing.
I bet,
living just a kind of a wild lifestyle and not very good at decompressing. So,
I love it.
and even, when vacation would roll around, I just wanted to stay at home and rest and do nothing. And that's not how I wanted to be for my kids either.
Yeah.
And now, at first chance for vacation, I'm like, all right, where are we going?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And we went to Vegas for spring break a couple
Did they
months
like
ago.
that?
Well, they loved it.
Yeah.
But I laugh at myself thinking, I would have in a million years never gone to Vegas if I lived in Atlanta. But there was just something, about the excitement of going to Vegas after living on a small, sleepy island for the past 3 years.
And if you've never been there,
Right. Well, I've been plenty of times, but the kids hadn't.
Yeah,
so.
to the kids, it would be
Different
amazing.
experience with the kids, but so yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of beauty that's come out of moving to St. Simon's and slowing down that has reinvigorated me to do some other things.
Well, I mean, you're a very fun person and just an easy person to talk with. And it was funny because I still remember, I think we first talked about maybe almost 3 months ago, and we couldn't make this work until you got up here. And you were kind of like, I don't know, what are you gonna talk? I'm like, it's not gonna be bad. I'm not gonna do something totally off the wall.
No,
it's really to highlight you, and I mean, you guys have done a really good job. And I mean, I love entrepreneurs that, like from that time of you were going to the, farmer's market or selling it at the farmer's market or whatever, having people taste tests. I mean, that's business.
Yeah.
That's real business. And the younger generations today, I mean, they want to be successful immediately.
Right.
And it's just, I try to tell people you can't. It's not going to happen overnight.
No, it's definitely not going to happen overnight. And I'm grateful that my kids have seen that this is a long, steady process, a lot of ups and downs too. But no, nothing's instantaneous. But, you've got to have the passion and the drive to make it happen, and you will.
Yeah.
And it's not just, getting out and doing farmers markets. It was trying to figure out how to get into Whole Foods and Kroger and using more of the business side and my sales background to, figure out who the point of contacts are and
that helped you.
How to make it, for sure. I do remember the first time walking into Whole Foods in a business suit, right?
Yeah.
stuck out like a sore thumb, and but I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
I had to wear business suits every day in medical sales, and I sat down with these people, and of course they've got their dreadlocks, and never again did I put a business suit on.
Right.
I learned quickly that is not going to work in this industry. But you just have to just keep breaking rules and knocking doors down to make it happen, and don't necessarily take no for an answer.
I love it. I mean, that's good advice to people. And I always like talking to people and let them tell the advice and what they've gone through so people listen. Because my kids will say, well, I've heard you say something like that before, but she said it where I understood it. And so
you're just the dad. They don't want to listen to you and your advice, but the next person can say the same thing a few words differently, and it resonates.
Yeah.
So no, it's been a grind for sure, but a beautiful process that I wouldn't trade for the world. And so many great people have become close friends through the process too.
Yeah, I can tell. Well, you're a good leader. People want to get behind. I can tell you're a leader. People want to get behind you. So what would you tell people that have never had any of your products? Like if you're like, what would you just say? Like if I came and I'd never had your product, heard of your company, what would be the top two things you would recommend that I immediately get?
So when somebody steps up to the nut butter bar, and I've got it's like a wine flight of all my nut butters.
Right.
I typically get people to start with our original almond butter to sample that first, because that's what we started with. That's what was based off of my grandfather's recipe from the 70s, and let them at least kind of taste what we're all about. Most people have tasted peanut butter before, so I don't lead with that.
Yeah.
If they like the almond butter, I'll start with the original, but then we also have a maple and a honey that I'll let them try next.
Good.
And then we'll shift into our pecan butter, which is just
that sounds amazing.
Pure glory. So
Southerners and pecan butter.
Yeah, we source our pecans from a 5th generation farmer, and they're rich, they're bold, they're buttery, super high oil content. So you can drizzle it on just about everything. And, we're really known for our salt, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We use a larger particle sea salt in our nut butter. So you get these crunches and these bursts of salty flavor. Because it's not evenly distributed.
That's great.
And then, let's see, I personally love the cashew butter. So that's one I always try to get people to sample. If they're not totally sure, it's much milder in flavor, and it's also probably the most versatile nut butter to bake with, because it doesn't have such an overpowering flavor.
The baking, all this bake, I don't know, I'm on it. This whole baking thing, I'm on it. I think it's the next takeoff for you guys.
Yeah.
You need it. Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I love chocolate, so any nut butter goes beautifully with chocolate. So
Who doesn't?
I'll melt some dark chocolate, stir some nut butter, and again, you can't ask me to pick a favorite, because I love them all equally.
They're all your children.
They are. They have 14 special children, but
awesome.
But I'll stir some of the nut butter in the melted chocolate, and then I actually add more sea salt on top, and that's my dessert almost every night.
I love sea salt. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Baja Salt Company was on here. I don't know if you know Rob Say right here, but he was on, and he was just talking about all the benefits. I mean, he spent his whole life on that in that area about
Yeah.
the benefits of salt. And you grow up, you think of table salt, like salt's
Right.
not good for you. Well, that's not the kind of salt.
Right. If it's truly been, pure ocean salt,
Yeah.
and it's been dried by the sun so that it maintains all of its mineral properties. I mean, our bodies need it.
Oh, yeah.
It's the table salt that's killing people.
Yeah.
And causing all of the excess swelling and kidney and heart disease, but not the real sun-dried sea salt.
Sea salt, right? Or Himalayan salt. I
Yeah,
guess
well,
is the
you
same
start
thing,
like
right?
there's thousands of
Yeah.
salts from all over the world that have different colors, tastes, particle sizes, and health benefits, but the mineral content is
It's insane.
yeah. I mean, our bodies need it.
It's insane. It's insane when I was reading about it, like what that does just put that in your water every day. It's crazy. I should
Just
done
have
this
your
one.
nut butters and salty water.
I'm a fan. I think we've got to get you on the cooking show and also the drinks, the bartending, mixing,
Yeah.
the mixers. I see that this does. We meet everyone that we talk to. Like we're getting in the music genre, and everyone's like, oh, they're telling us to do TikToks and this and that and all. And I'm like, whatever you do, just be authentic,
Yeah.
like with whatever you're doing, and maybe it'll go. If you're trying to go viral, you're probably not going to go viral.
Right.
But if you're just there having fun with your friends, mixing up some great drinks, I think that's a winner. I love it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I'll
I
make
need
the
you to
drinks.
participate.
I'll make the drinks all day long. I don't know how to make a TikTok, so
We can film it and get someone else to do
that
it.
I don't know how to do. So
Yeah, we'll get you. I think that would be a good show. But I have greatly enjoyed having you here, and I really appreciate it. I know that you didn't know kind of what to think at first, but I wasn't. We genuinely are happy for Georgia Grinders and your success, and we want to do anything we can to help you guys get more word out there. Get out there, best nut butter in the world. Get out there, but we really appreciate it. Like anything in closing you would want to say to anyone. You can say this is you. This is
Yeah,
about
no,
you, Jamie. You can say
I-
whatever you want to say.
I wish that every one of the listeners would go out to georgiagrinders.com, pick your favorite nut butters, and let's get them a coupon code. How about
Yeah,
that?
I would love it.
We could do Salty 25 for
Yeah.
25% off.
Let's do it.
And
So you heard that, Salty Nation. We'll put it in the notes too. We'll put it in the notes of the podcast. So
yeah,
so they'll know.
definitely. But that will allow you to order online, save 25%. But you can also find us regionally at Whole Foods, Publix, Kroger stores nationwide. Central Market in Texas, a lot of specialty gourmet shops around the world. But, let's just keep it simple. We're all sitting at home scrolling through our phones, doing some online shopping. So just go to georgiagrinders.com and Salty 25 for 25% off.
That's awesome, and we're grateful for that. So get out there and try it, and we'll get the recipes up too. I'll grab a recipe
Yes.
from her after, and we'll post that in the notes as well, so that we'll do a drink recipe and just a baking recipe.
I love it. That excites me. Start getting some new recipes up
Yeah.
for you too.
I think that'd be great. We
Brad approved recipes.
I'm actually really easy as far as food comes. That was but I've always liked nuts. Like I've always liked all kinds of, peanuts, walnuts. My dad was a big walnut guy growing up, so we'd go and, get walnuts, crack walnuts. So we grew up around that. It wasn't so we were Southern guys.
Well,
but
we're nuts over here, and food is the way to everyone's heart. So let's
it
get on
is.
the baking
Let's do it.
and mixology.
I'm definitely give me a little bit. Give me a week before I get back from the Keys, and I'm gonna have something set up that we can do. I
That'd
think
be
that
amazing.
would be so much fun.
I do too.
So that would be so much fun. Well, Salty Nation, you've heard it. Jamie Foster here with Georgia Grinders. She's an amazing woman, good person, mom, businesswoman, just an all-around great drink mixer. She's an amazing human being. So please check out Georgia Grinders and support local Georgia and local wherever you're at. If you're in Alabama, support Alabama companies. If you're in Texas, support Texas company. But the world is about good people and trusting people and doing what you say you're going to do. So in closing, I'm going to let you close if you have anything to say. If not,
All right. Well, Brad, I really appreciate you inviting me in today to talk a little
appreciate
bit
you.
more about Georgia Grinders, but most importantly, to get to know you. And I look forward to this friendship growing in our cooking show.
Absolutely. We're doing the cooking show.
But
I'll be
y'all
the
stay
taste
nutty
guy.
and salty.
I'm the taste guy. All right. So Salty Nation, that's all. Let's go.